Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Flip the Lifestyle podcast. It's great to be back with you again this week as we talk to another great member of the Flip Lifestyle community. And today, it's more than just a community member. It's a Flipped Lifestyle alumni. I got Chad Allen with me this week. Chad, how you doing, brother?
Great. Thanks for having me on, Stephen. This is awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm just so excited to talk to you. You're doing so many good things in your online business. And I know everyone listening in the Flip Lifestyle universe right now is going to get so much insight because we've picked out some things to talk about that I think are going to really help people in their online businesses as they grow and build their memberships. And they think about the different products and services and ways to structure things in their business. This is going to be a great episode. So let's go ahead and dig in. Tell people a little bit about you, a little bit about what your business is, and then maybe how you maybe your backstory a little bit on how you came into the business that you currently have today.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm married, have two kids, 16 and 12. We live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I spent 20 plus years in the traditional publishing space. So I worked for a couple of different book publishers, worked for the last one called Baker for 16 and a half years. The last 7 years, I was the editorial director of one of the divisions. And about 5 years ago, I went out on my own as a writing coach, mainly because in my role for a traditional book publisher, I had to keep saying no to writers over and over. No, your writing's not good enough. No, your platform's not big enough. No, your concept isn't strong enough. And I really wanted to start saying yes to writers because I knew that if I could coach them, that they could get a great book into the world. They could get book deals if they wanted to. They could sell a lot of books. And so I started my blog back in 2012.
You're a dinosaur, brother. You're a dinosaur.
I know, man. I know. And it turned into a business. And so that's what I do today.
Yeah, you're a dinosaur. 2012. Was the internet even around in 2012? I think they had carrier pigeons, and Shane being in Kentucky, his internet still is like carrier pigeons, man. The wind blows, his internet goes down, and it's like the old AOL with all the beeping sounds. They have to get connected in Kentucky. But good old Shane Sams, he's the only guy I know with that type of internet connection that can turn his passions into the business he has today. So that's fantastic. And it sounds like you're doing the same thing. So you come from that traditional publishing background, and you decided at some point here, you started your blog in 2012. And then through this journey, you said, you know what? I'm tired of working in traditional publishing. I'm tired of maybe, and you'll tell us here, maybe it was a 9-to-5 grind. Maybe it was the type of things that you were being asked to do and the friction and maybe some of the stress that was causing. But it ultimately turned into something you said one day, hey, I'm going to go out and do my own thing and create something that I can grow, I can do for myself and my family. Kind of take me through that decision of how that transition worked and what caused it.
Well, like I said, part of it was saying no over and over again, but another part was just a sense of calling. Like I had a sense that I had more I could do for writers than I was doing in my job. I don't know, this might be egotistical to say, but it felt to me like a lot of people could do the acquisitions editor role, for example, but fewer people. I won't say just me, but certainly fewer people could build an online platform and serve writers as a writing coach. That felt unique. It felt like a calling. It was a passion. And then I started doing it on the side. Like I didn't just cut ties with my traditional publisher and dive headlong into my own business. I started doing it on the side. I started with the blog, but then I even started doing some coaching. I launched a course called Book Proposal Academy, and people showed up, and I was like, "Wow, this could work." So I kind of instead of taking, people refer to taking a leap, I built a bridge into this business, and so that's how it went.
Yeah, and that's great for people listening out there. We never recommend at Flip Lifestyle that you jump off a bridge and hold your breath and hope that you're going to make it to the bottom in one piece. We never recommend that. Building a bridge, Chad is the perfect example of seeing what's possible, You have your 9 to 5, you're doing your thing, you started your side hustle, you're building your blog, you're seeing what that can look and feel like for yourself. And then you take those baby steps, those tiny steps forward that you work. And all of a sudden you wake up in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, and you're an overnight success because you've planned and you've built that bridge. So that's awesome, man. And I know the answer to this, but I want people to hear this. Who were some of your influencers that really helped you see what was possible and maybe gave you a little bit of a hand up as you began to grow your business?
Yeah. Well, the first name that comes to mind is Michael Hyatt. He wrote a book called Platform, which inspired me to begin building my own platform, my blog and so forth. I actually came to Shane Sams much later on my journey. My friend Grant Baldwin suggested, because I was building a membership program, a subscription-based membership program, and I called Grant up, who I'd published, and he said, you should talk to Shane. And so Shane has been a huge help when it comes to building the membership program. So Michael Hyatt was an early influence. He started a mastermind group that I was a part of. I love referring people to Todd Henry, who wrote The Accidental Creative, very influential book in my life. And then there's all these books for writers that I help writers with, like Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art is a terrific book. And Lamott's Bird by Bird. I mean, we could talk about influences all day long, but those are some of the key ones. Yeah.
And that's key. I think, people can really get a leg up. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot. It's creating one relationship. It's having one network, a person in a network. It's having someone take an interest in what you're doing. Someone you've helped, like a Grant Baldwin. You helped him publish his book, and he's a pretty large influencer, has a large business of his own. He knows Shane Sams. You get into the orbit of Shane and Flip Lifestyle, really double down and get into the subscription, the membership model. And then that creates and begins to take off in ways maybe you didn't initially see. So I think that's really great too. Makes me think, I got to ask this question. What do you say to people out there? Because I see bookstores closing all the time around the country, and Amazon doing what Amazon's doing. What about traditional publishing, self-publishing? It just seems like maybe the book industry isn't down because of all the alternate ways that books are being put out there, but it sure seems to be a different ecosystem than maybe it was just a few years ago. What do you see going on there?
That's absolutely true. I mean, the emergence of digital publishing, both ebooks as well as digital printing instead of conventional offset printing, has changed the game. There's a lot of consolidation among publishers where some publishers just keep getting bigger, and then the smaller houses, either they're emerging smaller houses and we'll see what their story is, or they've closed their doors. Audiobooks are this phenomenon that's happened over the past, I don't know. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but the way they've taken off, along with podcasts, has been amazing to watch. But the common denominator, the thing that is durable through it all, is great content. I'm speaking mainly of nonfiction because it feels weird to refer to novels as content. But I mean, great stories, great messages. That is what's durable. That's what people show up for and pay for.
Yeah, great content is never going to go out of style. Community is never going to go out of style. People need human beings. People connect through stories. People connect through content. Now, how the content's delivered can always change, and it will change next week by the time we talk with AI and ChatGPT and all the different tools. Every time I wake up, I'm getting an email about some new AI tool that's out there. And you know me, I'm kind of like a squirrel. I got to go check it out, man. I'm like the human crash test dummy, the guinea pig for all these tools, man. So AppSumo, I'm an AppSumo guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I have 50 or 60 things I bought on AppSumo. And you know how many I use? Probably 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That's just kind of one of those things. So let's dive into your business a little bit, because there are some really cool things you're doing that I want people to know about you. And especially if they want to get some help with with publishing or getting more information around books, but you've got some pretty cool things you're doing. And the first thing that comes to mind is your subscription service that you're offering, your membership business. Tell me about your membership business and kind of how it is structured today and what's the status of it.
Yeah, I really evolved into this. It's called Book Camp. I started the very first time I decided to monetize, try to make some money off of my content. I was very nervous. And the first thing I did was I was in this mastermind group with Jonathan Milligan, who wrote Your Message Matters. He's a great guy. And I remember talking to this mastermind group and just hazarding the idea that maybe possibly I could make a few shekels off of my content. And this guy, Dale Callahan, he said, well, Chad, if you could show me how to write a book proposal, that would be amazing. And Stephen, by that point, I had reviewed thousands of book proposals. So I thought, I probably have something to say about that. So the very first thing I did was I sold 6 and delivered 8 teleconference calls that walked people through the process of writing a book proposal. Because again, it was something I knew. And here's the thing I would say to anybody listening or watching to this. What is obvious to you is not obvious to others. This was my job to review book proposals. So I was so close to it. I didn't see that was something that somebody might be willing to pay for. So I had been blogging, building my email list. I sent out an email that says, hey, I've got 10 spots. I'm going to go through over the course of 6 teleconference calls. I'm going to go through the process of writing a book proposal. It's $100. And those 10 spots were gone like that.
Yeah, $100, man. That no wonder they went so quick. $100, but let's just basically say free. $100 is kind of like free.
I know. Bro. Well, I've learned a few things, but anyway. Exactly. Yeah, so that was my first thing. And then the second thing was one-on-one coaching. And I'm still working at my day job, and I just thought, if I could take Friday afternoons off, I could probably serve a few people one-on-one. So again, it's a longer story, but I charge $150. Stephen, see, aren't you proud of me?
Man, that's kind of, what that feels like? That kind of feels like free still.
Yeah, but this is $150. This is $150 per month.
Yeah.
And again, I offered 5 spots because again, I had a day job, and they were gone like this. So I did some thinking, talked with my wife, and I'm like, maybe I could do 10 spots. Within 24 hours, 10 spots, $150 a month per person, gone. And all of a sudden, I'm in the coaching business. And I realized I can only coach one-on-one. I can only coach so many people. And yet, Book Proposal Academy is for this specific thing, writing book proposals. I would love to take a larger group through the process of getting a book into the world. Thus was born Book Camp. And it's $49 a month. It started a lot cheaper, but these days it's $49 a month. And it offers 6 main features. Number 1 is 12 co-working sessions per month. So you show up with something you want to write, you write with us for an hour, and then at the end, we check in and do high fives. And it's a way to have connection with community as well as accountability. Then we do a fireside chat once a month, which is when I come on, I train about a particular part of the process of getting a book into the world, whether it's marketing or refining your book concept or building a website, whatever. And then every month you can send in up to 2 pages of your own content for professional review. I do some of those. I have some coaches I work with who help me with that. But every month, members can send in their own material and get a professional review. That's pretty amazing. The fourth thing is we have a members area with hundreds of trainings. We do one live event besides the fireside chat. So last Friday, for example, we did a virtual writing retreat, which was amazing. And then we have a closed community where people ask questions and celebrate their wins. So that's Book Camp in a nutshell. We have about 220 members at the moment. And I just absolutely love the journey that we're on together. It's so fun. My favorite is when people show the book that they've just published in the Facebook group, and we all get to cheer for them. So that's book camp, and I love it.
Yeah, it's like you're a proud papa a little bit there, and I love it. So a few things you said there that really stand out to me about when you began starting with one-on-one coaching. You charged $100 a month, then $150 a month, and you had 5 spots and 10 spots. The thing that really stands out to me is, and I think you would feel this way, and I just want to encourage everybody out there listening. When you get that first $100 that somebody pays you, that $150. Yeah. How does that feel? We have 9-to-5 jobs that are paying us a lot more, but when you get that certificate of appreciation with a dead president on it, right?
Yes, right.
That just changes our world.
Right. Yeah. No, it's so true. And the reality is, if you can sell one, you can sell 1,000.
Exactly.
Like if there is a market, for whatever you're selling, and one person buys it, I'm assuming it's not just your mom who bought it. Like somebody legitimately sees, this is a need that I have. This product will meet this need. Let me buy it. As long as that happens one time, it can happen multiple times. It's all about finding your customers at that point. So, and it is, those days, man, when I think about selling Book Proposal Academy, when I think about those first one-on-one clients and how quickly they came to me because I'd been building a relationship over time with my blog posts and emails. That's another influencer was Brendan Burchard, whose book, The Millionaire Messenger, had a big impact on me. He says in that book, and I remember reading this, and actually I was listening to it. I was listening to the audiobook, and he says, there are people out there who are willing to pay you probably more than you can imagine for your expertise. And I'm like, really? Is that true? And then you start to see it happening, and you're like, this is incredible. It's an amazing thing.
It's nuts. And what you said also is that you started with one-on-one, and you realized, like all entrepreneurs eventually will realize, it's great to start with one-on-one because you get to learn so much about your clients. You get to learn so much about the problems they have and how to really help them directly. And you learn how to scale things, but you can't scale one-on-one. Everybody has this 168 hours a week. That's all we got. And hopefully you're getting a little bit of sleep in there. Hopefully you're getting a little bit of family time in there. If you're working a day job, you got some of that stuff in there, and you got to really carve out time. So that one-to-one is great in the beginning. It's great to validate and to get a lot of information and insight on your ideal customer, that avatar. But to scale that, you realize that, hey, I've got to go a different direction here. And that led to what is today Book Camp, with 220 members, $49 a month, 7 different streams of value inside of Book Camp. It's crazy. If you're out there, you're listening to this, and you want to write a book, you've thought about writing a book, you had an idea about a book, you've read a book, and a book is a great lead magnet. A book is a great entry point into your orbit, into your world. If you're not looking up Chad Allen here, and he's going to give you information at the end of how to do that. But if you're not getting in on that environment with Chad for $49 a month for all of that, it's crazy the value that really can bring to you if you even considered writing a book. So that is a phenomenal product. I love what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about how you run your business. And do you have a team? What's that team look like? How do you structure that team, your day, things like that, to give people some insights on how that works? Yeah.
So the very first person there's so many different directions. So you need a bookkeeper. At least I'm not a detailed kind of person. I'm more like a creative coaching kind of person. So I knew that bookkeeping was important. So I bought Michael Michalowicz's book, Profit First. I'm sure book. Some of you listening to this have heard of it. And then hired a bookkeeper to help me manage that system for my accounting. That's been wonderful, very helpful. Then the second thing I did was, and I was on my own for a long time, until I had a conversation with Michael Hyatt, who I mentioned before. I had the privilege of publishing a few of his books when I worked in the traditional publishing industry. And I was telling him because he's a big advocate for hiring an executive assistant, a virtual executive assistant. And I was saying that I was thinking about it, but I was nervous about it. And he's like, well, Chad, just think about what you could do with the time that you gain back when somebody else is doing all the other things, the admin, the email triage, et cetera, the calendar management. And I said, well, I could go after more one-on-one clients, because at that point I was still
Right.
in one-on-one. And he's like, well, there you go. And I was like, you're absolutely right. So I hired an executive assistant. She's been with me ever since. That was, gosh, years ago. And now she's now my director of operations, and we've hired on a new executive assistant. So my director of operations does higher level things. She's actually creating a course for my members right now. Imagine that. Imagine hiring
Wow.
somebody who can help you create a course. But she also does like pitches me to partners. And she's also training our new executive assistant. Then I have a couple of coaches who have a lot of experience in publishing and writing, who help me with those submission reviews from boot camp members. They're terrific. Ariel Curry and Andy Rogers, they're awesome. And they do a great job on those. And then I have a tech guy that I work with through Upwork. His name's Tom Burdick. So whenever I'm doing a big launch, there's a lot of different technical pieces involved. He helps me with that. And then, like, I'm doing a video to promote this live event coming up in September. And I shot I went to Chicago, the event's happening in Chicago. So I shot a bunch of video, took some pictures, but I don't have the skill set to create a promotional video. So again, I went to Upwork, and there's this guy, Eric Shear, who does a great job. And so when it comes to a team, they're kind of the people that are with me week in and week out, like my director of operations, my executive assistant, these coaches I work with. And then there are people that I don't need them all the time, but when I need them, I need them. And I go and reach out to them, like the videographer, the technical professional that I mentioned. And so I'll just to kind of to pick up the hood, like, I don't have anyone on the payroll, like they're not employees. They're people that send me invoices and I pay them. So that's how that has worked so far. Now, at some point in the future, if I keep growing, I imagine I probably will have full-time employees. But it's also just important for the people listening and watching this to know, like, you don't have to take on a 40-hour per week employee as you get started. You could start with an executive assistant who gives you 5 hours a week. Think about that. Let's say you pay them $20 an hour. That's $100 a week. And you know what they can do for you? It's incredible what they can do for you. And it frees you up to do other things that will grow your business. So I think sometimes we get in this mindset of like, oh, I can't afford it. Well, imagine doing it incrementally,
Right.
and growing it as you grow your business.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, a lot of entrepreneurs, you need to use those fractional type of services like Upwork or Fiverr, things like that, because that's going to give you freedom on a project by project, kind of task by task basis. And then you can go to the next step, the next level, like you've done, is have someone more predictable, routine, somebody that's on your team, maybe not as a full-time employee, but someone you can count on, you get to learn their strengths, their weaknesses, things like that. And do those people on your team, your director of ops or the other person you mentioned, do they also work with other clients as well pretty consistently? Are you one of the larger parts of their business, or how does that look?
Yes. Yeah, certainly they do. I'm really not sure about our current executive assistant. I'm sure she's doing other things. My director of operations has other clients that she works for. So we have an agreement about how many hours she's working for me each week. And she, sticks to that, or if she needs to go over it, we just have a conversation real quick so that I can say, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. So yeah, typically they are, I mean, I can imagine working with somebody who doesn't need a full-time income. All they need is part-time. And I would be basically the only person they're working with. But in my case, my director of ops, I know, is doing some other work, but I would be probably her biggest client. If that's what I am to her, a client.
Yeah. How do you communicate with her? Do you have like Slack or what? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, we meet once a week, usually on Monday afternoons, and we have a Zoom session for an hour, and then we're in regular contact via text and email.
Okay. And then what platform do you use for like your membership business? What platform do you deliver it on?
Kajabi.
Oh, so you're a Kajabi guy too. That's great.
Yep.
And do you
Yep.
do your emails in Kajabi, or do you use something else?
I use ConvertKit.
You use ConvertKit. Yeah, I'm still in Kajabi. I've used ActiveCampaign, I've used Aweber,
Mm-hmm.
and I've AppSumo, man. I buy everything from AppSumo. I've got some. I think it's called Zago Mail. I bought a lifetime thing. I have like
Wow.
15,000, up to 15,000 people I can have on that list, and it was like, I don't know, it's like 100 and something bucks. I bought it because I'm thinking you never know. I might need that at some point in the future. So
Sure.
I have that, but I've just kind of hung in with Kajabi. It's not the
Yeah.
best emailing platform, but it's good
Right.
enough for most
Yep.
entrepreneurs, unless you want to do some really crazy kind of fancy
Yep.
stuff that most people won't need. But back on the team piece, that's something that I
Mm-hmm.
struggle with too, man, is, I don't have a VA. I don't have anyone. Part of that I think is because my decades of corporate background and having to lead and manage people so much, I just feel this relief a little bit of not having that responsibility. So I
Right.
think I think that's also a penalty to my
Mm-hmm.
business as well. I think I really need to think
Mm-hmm.
about, like you said, Michael Hyatt gave you that kind of coaching, which is, hey, go get somebody to help you, because that's going to free you up to do things that you don't even know how valuable
Right.
they can be to you yet. Even if you go take a nap, man,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
recharge the brain a little bit.
So
Just
important.
man, it's
Yep.
so critical. So that's making me really think about that. And if you're out there
Good.
listening,
Good. I hope you do, Stephen.
yeah,
I think it could be really useful for
yeah, I'm
you.
gonna have to hit up you and your director of operations, because she might have some time available, man. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
she
to figure that
might. She
out.
might.
I have to
Yeah, let's
figure that
talk.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great, man. I love hearing how people manage and run teams, because entrepreneurs do it in so many different ways. And a lot of people just wait way too long to bring somebody on to help them. And I would say I'm one of those people. So I need to
Mm-hmm.
get a little bit better at that as well. So good stuff about the team. You mentioned your live event. Tell me a little bit more about this live event that's coming up, and maybe what led you to say, you know what, I'm doing all these things. Let's go do a live event. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the first one I did was a couple years ago, pre-COVID, when and I had a higher ticket offer. It was $5,000 to work with me on your book proposal. So I let 10 people into this program, and the culminating event was an in-person event. We went to a botanical gardens here in Grand Rapids, and we had, I think, 2 days together, and it was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. So I sold the same program again, thinking we would do it again, and then COVID happened. So we had to kind of pivot and do a virtual version of it. Um, but I love in-person events. I think there's things that happen in an in-person event that don't happen any other way. The camaraderie that happens between members, the depth of insight that I can offer somebody. I mean, Zoom is great, but it's not the same as being in the same room, where I can hit you in the shoulder or just spend more time with you. I mean, frankly, Zoom meetings are wonderful, but there is a certain fatigue. The researchers have studied this. There is a certain fatigue that sets in with Zoom, because there are things about this form of communication that are more tiring than when you're with somebody. So all that to say, I love in-person events.
Yeah.
And I was at the American Writers Museum in Chicago earlier this year. It's a small museum, but it's rich. It's wonderful. And the whole time I was there, I was thinking, I would love to show some writers this place, and then do some workshops with them and help them meet each other. And so that was really the genesis of what became Midwest Muse, is the name of the event. And I cannot wait. We've already got it half
Man,
full. We got a few seats left.
when is it? If the people are listening to this before
Yeah.
that day, when is that date again?
September 7 and 8, I think, are the dates. And the link is chadarallen.com, which is my blog, chadarallen.com/Midwest Muse.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I'm really excited about it.
That's great, man. And if people like you that love books, that love writing, that love history, it's just a no-brainer. And you even mentioned to me before, not here, but in a prior conversation we had about the pizza you're going to get, right? And there's some fancy Chicago pizza that you're looking forward to.
Yeah. So if you want to get an argument started in Chicago, ask where's the best place to get pizza, because Chicagoans are very passionate about their pizza. But my money is on Lou Malnati's. It's this
Lou Malnati's, yep.
Yeah, it's this long storied family owned business, and I love their pizza. And so, so Friday night, the Friday night of the event, that's included. We're all going to go get pizza together at Lou Malnati's, and that's going to be a great way to wrap things up.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Cubs or White Sox. If you're in the South Side, you're White Sox, so it's the Chicago pizza, that is a serious conversation. You do not want to be on the wrong side of with the wrong people, especially in the wrong part of Chicago, right? So you would definitely want to be smart there. So great stuff, that live event. And then you also you've pivoted a little bit. Maybe it's not a pivot, but it's kind of an expansion of things that you're doing and offering. So from your book camp and your 220 members, I don't know how long ago you started this, you could share that, but you've started to offer a mastermind. So the mastermind you offer, who are the type of people that are ideal for your mastermind? What is your mastermind? How is it different than book camp? And tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for writers who just want more of my attention, they want to go further, faster. They want to get my guidance on particular issues on a regular basis. They need accountability on a deeper level than we can do inside book camp. This is what prompted me to create a mastermind group. And I actually have 2 mastermind groups going right now. This actually comes out of guidance from Shane Sams. Shane taught how to do this. I followed his teaching, and I ended up with two mastermind groups. So no more than 10 people in each group. The current price is $249 a month. And it's pretty simple. We start with obviously greeting each other. We do this twice a month. Each group meets twice a month. And I show them the goals that they gave me last time. And so it's just a Google document. I bring it up on the screen and I was like, okay, let's take a minute or two to revisit what we said we were going to do last time. And then I close that down and it's just the faces on the screen. And I go, okay, who'd like to go first? And they share their highs and lows and a question, or they share, sometimes we use the rosebud thorn analogy. The rose is something that's flourishing. The bud is something that's emerging, but you're not sure what's going to happen. And then the thorn, what's the sticking point? So each person checks in like that. I give them my thoughts. I open it up to the group's wisdom, and then we move on to the next person. We spend the last 5 minutes revising our goals from last time. So, okay, what do we want to accomplish between now and the next time? And so it's not that hard, but it's enormously valuable for the people involved. They just really get a lot out of it. So I've been doing that for about 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll say about that is I don't like to work in the evenings because it's family time, but I realize that's not true for everybody. And there are some of my customers who would love to meet in the evening. And so my director of operations said, Chad, I think you'd get a lot of people interested if you did an evening mastermind group. And I was like, well, I don't want to do it, but what if I reached out to one of these coaches that's already doing submission reviews inside book camp? And so he and I talked recently, and he's like, I'm very open to that. So when we do Midwest Muse, one of the things that I will promote while we're there, a bunch of those people are already in mastermind groups, but some of them aren't. And one of the things I'll promote is that we have these 3 mastermind groups. There are 2 that meet during the day. There's 1 that meets in the evening. And we'll just come to terms with this other coach. I'll make sure that he's compensated well, and I will receive a percentage of that because I'm bringing him the clients, the customers, and so that's how we'll work that. So that's the mastermind group in a nutshell.
Yeah, so you kind of run it like a round robin, then a round table format. You go in, you talk about the goals, what you've accomplished. Everyone gets a kind of a little turn in the hot seat or their opportunity to share. Get feedback from you and the others, kind of a traditional mastermind type of format. But you're right. It's so valuable, that additional connection, that accountability, the discipline around it, the relationships that are made. just create, especially for people who are serious about writing, serious about books, serious about taking it to the next step. That 249 investment is really a no-brainer for them because they get so much out of it. And the way that I know that you show up, it's tremendous value. And these people have to be or don't have to be in boot camp, or is there a mutual connection there?
That's a great question. So I require everybody who's in the mastermind group to also be in boot camp because I am constantly referring to trainings inside the boot camp members area.
I see.
And so I don't want to have to like do something different. I just want to say, hey, go catch this training inside boot camp. It'll be enormously helpful to you. So most of them are already in boot camp. If you're not already in boot camp, then I just talk with them about, I try to give them a pretty special discount if they're also going to be in the mastermind group. So that's how that works.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you've really looked at, and I love multiple streams of income. So you have the recurring revenue stream of both boot camp and the mastermind. Now you're even spinning it off a little bit into, I won't say it's an affiliate, but you're bringing the leads. You're going to have somebody deliver the value. They're going to get the lion's share. You're going to get your kind of, let's call it an affiliate commission for bringing the lead. And that's a great model too. And that I think of as a lot of people that are growing entrepreneurs have really leaned into this kind of revenue share model, right? This let me help you. Let me help coach you, for example, in entrepreneurship and sourcing clients, growing your business, being smart, doing the right things, scaling. And I just get a take or a percentage of your revenue that I help grow, from maybe a baseline from that point forward, I'll get X% of that. And that's becoming an increasingly popular way too. And it kind of feels to me, I say that because it feels a little bit like what you could possibly do with masterminds. If you could do one mastermind that you're bringing leads to, you could do 10 of them that way. Right.
Exactly.
And that's just a great way for you to get more leverage in your life and scale as well, man. This has been, Chad, a great conversation, learning so much about what you're doing, your business. I think the insights that you shared today are really going to help people out there, not only in if they're thinking about a book or being an author, but in any type of online business where they're offering a membership, a course, maybe they're a coach doing one-on-ones. There's a lot of value here that you've done the hard work since 2012, and people can really take advantage of that and learn from you and really lessen their learning curve. Maybe the benefits of you and I did not have as we were coming up through this. And it's great, man. So if you're out there, you've got to check Chad out. Chad, what is the best place as we wrap up here? Where do you want people to go to learn more about what you're doing, your boot camp, other things that you're offering? Because they need to definitely get into your world.
Yeah. So go to my blog, chadrallen.com, get on my email list, and you'll begin to I'll send you a welcome sequence that kind of walks you through who I am and my best content. And then along the way, you'll learn about different ways that we can engage with each other if you're interested. If not, you can just stay on my list and get all my free stuff, which is fine too. I'm happy to serve people. So chadrallen.com.
Chad, great talking with you today. Great catching up with you, my friend. Hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Stephen. Take care.
Well, that wraps up my interview today with Chad Allen. If you're interested in writing a book, you got to check Chad out. He is got a lot of great stuff going on in the book publishing world, got a great membership, got a great mastermind. He's been producing content since 2012, y'all. And we love to help you become the hero of your story as well and live the best life just like Chad Allen's doing. And you can do that inside the Flip Lifestyle community. To learn more about making money online and Flip Lifestyle, head over to flippedlifestyle.com. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com for free resources or getting started on taking your next step. That's all the time we have for this episode. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, make the decision to get out there, to take action, and to do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you next time.